Yes, welcome you all. So in the previous video, we have been discussed about the introduction of the kinematics of machines, and what is the use of the kinematics of machines when we are studying in the engineering. What is the purpose, and how we going to implement all the different types of motions and mechanisms inside the machines that we have been discussed. So in this video, we are going to say about the what do you mean by the links, what do you mean by the characteristics of the links, how it will be differentiated, and on what basis we need to select the links, and what are the types of links that has been used in order to transmit the motions to form a mechanism. We're going to discuss all this about this in this video. We're going to discuss those things. Yes, we've been seeing the about taking any degrees of freedom in any body. So it will be, as we know, that 6 degrees. So translation to rotational, and a combination of both the translation and rotational. So in the previous video we've been discussed about the translation. So now we're going to see about the rotational. So you can able to see the diagram. The rotational means all the points in a body remain at fixed distances from lane which where the perpendicular to the plane of rotation. This lane of the axis of rotation and the points in the body that will describe the circular path. So here in this rotational means all the points in the body will remain at a fixed distances from a lane which is perpendicular to the plane of rotation. So this is a lane where axis and the points will describe, only the axis and the points will be describe the circular paths about it. So this is what we call it as a rotation. Next one is about the combination of both the translation and rotation means at a time either one it may take the translation motion, or in the other cases it may take as a rotational motion, and other 2 degrees which will be formed in any body is either it might be a translation or either it might be a rotational motion that which can able to take parts on the machine. So next we're going to see about a link, or what we call it as an element. So the link is nothing but it is a name only it gives to anybody that it is a having, it should have a, as it will be having a motion related to other. So the link means whenever we are going to tell means it is interconnected to the other. If we take in the general terms, not only in the kinematics of machines, if we take the link in the general terms itself only, link means it is connected to other. So here how we are going to utilize this link is nothing but, so link to any body which should be having a relative motion to one another. From one link to I need to transmit a motion or to transmit any type of mechanism. So we are going to connect, or we are going to interlink the links. So that gives the transmission of motion or a mechanism. That is what we call it as a link. See, in all the materials when we take, there will be some elasticity. Elasticity is nothing but even after removal of the load, the material can able to regain its shape, size, or in a structure. That is what we call it as an elasticity. So when we are going to select the type of material or type for a link, is a link should be rigid, means it should have a fixed, whose the deformations are very small, so that they will be neglected the deformation which is generating because of that motion. So determining the motion and its parameters of the link. So link is nothing but it should have a relative motion with the other body, and it should be having an elasticity, and it should be in a rigid. So where the deformations occurs, deformation means whenever we are transmitting or applying the force, so there will be some deformation will takes place. So there is deformation means change in the shape, or it might causes the change in the shape or size. So that it should able to withstand, and it should able to transmit that particular motion. And a link or element need not to be a rigid, it not should be in a rigid body. So but it must be in a resisting body. So a rigid body means it cannot able to transmit any motion, only it will be withstanding or resisting the forces. But a resisting body means it has to resist the forces, and it has to transmit the particular motion. So a body is said to be resisting body if it is capable of transmitting the required forces with negligible deformation. That is what we call it as a link. Link must need not be in a rigid body, but it should be in a resisting body, and it should be the link or in a body which is has to be capable of transmitting the required forces without any, means only the small negligible deformation. It should able to transmit the motion. So next we're going to say about the what are the characters should be there for selection of a link. See, when you're going to select the link, what should be the major characters should be there for a link? One is it should have a relative motion. Yes, the link should have a relative motion with another link or another body. then only it can able to process the relative motion, or it can able to transmit the particular motion. That is what we called as a relative motion. And it must be in a resisting body, as we have been discussed in the definition. Resisting body means it has to withstand the forces and it should be able to be transmit the motions. See, the rigid body means only it can able to resist the forces, but the resisting body means it has to withstand the forces and it should be capable of transmitting the for motions from one link to the other with a small negligible deformations. So these are the major two characters should be there for a link when you're going to select the link. Now, some of the types of the links are classification of link. Majorly, we have been classified into three types of links: a rigid link, flexible link, and fluid link. So these are the three different types. Majorly in the links, these are the three different types of links we are going to use whenever for any transmission of motion or mechanism in the different applications. See, as we know that rigid link is used for some applications, flexible link is used for other applications, and the fluid link is being used for some other applications. So majorly in the machines, mainly we are going to use these are the three types of links for transmission of motion. So now we'll be discussing the one by one. First one is a rigid link. A rigid link is one which does not undergo any deformation while transmitting the motions. See, when you use the rigid link means it does not go any undergo any deformation. Deformation may occur because of the forces which is applied on that link. So rigid link means it will be a rigidly, it will be fixed, so it doesn't undergo any deformation while transmitting the motions. So, and even the while strictly speak means the rigid link does not exist. So only the main thing is the rigid link does not undergo any deformation while transmitting the motion. So next one is about a flexible link. So the flexible link is nothing but a flexible link is one which is partially deformed in a manner and it will not affect the transmission of motion. Flexible link means, so rigid link we know that it does not go undergo any deformation while transmitting the motion. Flexible link means, so some partially the deformation will occur in this flexible link. So partially it will not be the completely, but partially some deformation will be occurred in this motion while transmitting the motion. Deformation will be occurred in this. So and even it does not affect the transmission of motion. See, when the flexible link is one which is partially means only the partial deformation will takes place, but even it does not affect the transmission of motion. So because of the deformation, there is no, it does not have any effect on the transmission of motion. And the fluid link is one which is formed by having the fluid in a resetable and the motion is transmitted through the fluid by the pressure or compression only. The fluid pressure is nothing but where we are going to use hydraulic presses or hydraulic machine components where we are going to use. There we are going to use this type of fluid means we are going to use as a link as a fluid in order to transmit the motion from one part to the other. Either it might be in the form of pressure or either it might be in the form of compression only. So right, so these are the major types of links that what we are going to be used in the machinery parts in order to transmit the motion. So next we're going to say about the what are the types of links. So that are the major types and the classification of links. Now in this again further it has been classified into majorly three types of links in the diagram where you can able to see binary link, part A binary link, ternary link and quaternary link. So these are the three types of links that what we can able to see. So the binary link means which is connected to the other links. See, when we are transmitting any motion, either we should be having two types of links should be there. Minimum two bodies or two links should be there in order to transmit the motion from one link to the other. So you can able to see here binary link. This is binary link, ternary link and quaternary. Binary link is nothing but we having two links or two points which is having fixed in order to transmit the motion. Ternary means we will be having three points which have been connected, and a quaternary means we will be having four points or four links. These are the four links which has been used to transmit the motion. See, this is not only fixed or applicable to either 2 points or 3 points or 4 points. So we can able to fix the n number of links in order to transmit the motion. Depends upon the type of motion we have been transmitting or where it has been applicable or where we are going to use or transmit the motion. We can able to fix the n number of links for each type of motion. You can able to see for here we can able to fix the one more link here and we can able to transmit the motion. So we can able to fix the n number of links for all these types of links in order to transmit the motion. in order to transmit the motion of different types of links.